In this video we will discuss the Banter Bulldog. And where does this dog sit? This dog sits between the modern day boxer and the ancestor thereof, known as the Brabanter Bullenbeißer. So this is like Dutch, because Brabant is a part of the Netherlands, the German type of Mastiff. Or bulldog, in my opinion. It's more of a bulldog. Bullenbeißer means in German the dog that bites the bull. So that would more be a Dutch-German bulldog. That being said, this dog is now extinct. It is one of the ancestors of the show dog that we now know as the boxer, and that's a boxer population completely assimilated the left, those left of the Bullenbeißer, Brabanter Bullenbeißer. Next to the Brabanter Bullenbeißer, they also used especially English bulldog blood, and most dominantly English bulldog blood of show stock to further flatten the nose. And the English bulldog blood of show stock, which in a later phase was used to refine the dog that we know now as the boxer, has a flattened nose because of pug influences, which is just a show toy breed. There's no functionality. This also means that the boxers with this flat nose have lost a lot of functionality, albeit being a nice athletic frame that they have, and also a nice character, which is all good, but the functionality has been lost to a great degree. And that's what they try to restore by creating the Banter Bulldog. So bulldog is also referring to the English term for Bullenbeißer, the German term, and Banter is a part of the Brabanter part in this breed, and it was a dog known in the Dutch regions, and so the Dutch region of Brabant, and those dogs were used also in Germany, and they were referred to where they came from, being Brabant, as the Brabanter Bullenbeißer. So the Banter Bulldog is a recreation to some degree, but they still started with one of the show dogs that we know known as the boxer. So still they have some of the drawbacks of show blood infusion, and then they revigorate this with a very good breed, a breed that is the direct descendant of the English bulldog when it was still a performance blood sport gladiator, which is the American Pit Bull Terrier. So those two breeds are used to create a breed that we now know as the Banter Bulldog. And this is a great increase in health, performance possibilities, and also a great contender at weight pull events, for example. As such, still not beating the American Pit Bull Terrier, which is for its weight a top contender in almost all sports it participates in, but a lot better than a regular boxer would do. It's a nice project, but for me it only has value as a sentimental recreation, whereas the Banter Bulldog has descendants of the Brabanter Bullenbeißer, performance bred dog, and the English blood sport bulldog running to its veins. it still will be subpar to a pure performance type of dog, such as the American Pit Bull Terrier. So all the good parts come from American Pit Bull Terrier blood. It might have a nicer view if you want something like that, but there were already breeds closer to the original Banter Bulldog in its performance. If you would look at Scott type American Bulldogs, for example, you could come very close to the looks and also the function of the Banter Bulldog without the infusion of show breed blood to show English Bulldog, which carries pug blood. And that's the part I don't like. That being said, it's far better than the original boxer as a show dog, and would be a joy to have. Boxers have a nice temperament, but they're quite plagued with diseases, especially heart, epilepsy, but also cancer. And infusing a performance breed will greatly revigorate those detrimental traits. So I'm not against the breed, but I think it could do a lot better. Hope you like this video. Have a great day. The dog on the leash here is a very small dog. Also carries Bull and Terrier blood. It is known as the Petdogs Terrier, also known as the Black Veil Terrier or the Black Dogs. It is a smooth coated variety and also carries some of the original Bulldog blood through its veins, by means especially of the Northumberland Terrier. Have a great day. Today time for a small reaction video regarding the Bull Arab. I was commented that the Bull Arab was just a cross between Greyhound and Bull Terrier, and then crossed back to a pointer, so that would be half English Pointer, a quarter Bull Terrier and a quarter Greyhound. And that was the cross, and then they depend on the terrain if they would cross the shorter legged dogs with each other or the longer legged dogs with each other. That was the entire range, and that I had the breeds wrong. Okay. First of all, let me mention that indeed Pointer blood, Bull Terrier blood and Greyhound blood has found its way into the Bull Arab. Point given, and I was never doubting that. But then again, the Bull Arab is just a working mongrel, and as I mentioned, a running dog was introduced, for example Greyhound. Bull blood was introduced, for example Bull Terrier, but also Bull Mastiff, and other sources depending on what type of dog they want. And also hunting dog blood was introduced, being Pointer or other type of hunting blood. But if you look at the name, Bull Arab, so bull would be from especially Bull Terrier, but also other sorts of bull, for example the Bull Mastiff that I mentioned, or other. Sometimes the source of bull could even be Great Dane blood. It's not the only source of bull then, but if they want a bigger dog, even Great Danes are used. Then the Arab part. As you might have known, you have different type of running dogs, but the Greyhound is an English running dog, whereas the Arab stands for different types of running dogs from the Arabian countries. For example, the Sluti that I mentioned, which is an Arabian running dog. And also the Sluti is known to have even greater endurance than the Greyhound has. So on longer stints or crosses between Sluti and Greyhound, often have better way of crossing longer distances. And that could also be beneficial. That being said, of course, the greyhound, which is a premium running dog and the fastest of all, has found its way. It's the same as you find in the UK, where they have their bull greys as premium lurches. So that was a little bit of an example that I wanted to give to you. Have a great day and enjoy the sunshine. There it's coming. There you go. The dog on the leash is a Petdogs Terrier. Today we are going to discuss a Portuguese breed known as the Rafeiro do Alentejo, and also known as the Rafeiro of Alentejo. This is a livestock protection breed, so not different than the Petdogs that you see here on the leash, and is a formidable size. Height the withers can be over 70 centimeters and weight can be upwards of 50 kilograms. That being said, it is a dog related to the Pyrenean mountain dog, or also known as Pyrenean Mastiff, but it's a lot less bulky in build. So the Rafeiro has a build closer, in my opinion, approaching that of a Kangal dog, but with more fur. In this time of age, the Rafeiro has it hard. It's a FCE registered livestock protection breed, so it can also be a show dog, but they are becoming rare. And why is that? Because of economy, which is not going that well, especially also in Portugal, but also because their purpose, that's the main reason, is getting lost, and that purpose is livestock protection. But now with so little wolves and bears to protect the livestock from predators, their purpose has just been lost. Another thing, if you have a big dog, it takes a lot of money to keep them healthy, so you need to feed them a lot. And also big dogs have a shorter lifespan. That being said, a Rafeiro has a good lifespan for such a big dog. But the thing is, because of show breed and the rarity, they will suffer from inbreeding depression more and more, which will make it even harder for this breed in the future. Another thing is that giant breeds such as this Rafeiro, especially this Rafeiro is no exception, take a while to mature. So you need quite some time before you can effectively use your dog, even if you have a dog from working pedigrees. And that also limits its appeal because you still have a lot of cost. With this type of giant breed, but also the other detrimental effect is, of course, that you have a limited lifespan, that you can really use the dog. And that lifespan is often, for this type of working dog, 5 to 6 years, that you can use them. But if the dog takes 2.5 years to mature, this can be limited even more to 4 years or 5 perhaps. Of course, even an older dog can still protect the house and also the livestock, unless those wolves are quite fast and moving from one side to the other. But this is not often the case. And also Pyrenean mountain dogs are, as mentioned, bulky, and the Rafeiro has the benefit that it's quite a slim, agile type of big livestock protection breed, which is beneficial. Also the coat is not as full as a Pyrenean Mastiff or a Tatra dog, and it's more of a Maramo type of coat, so not too heavy, also a little bit like a Kuvash in thickness. So this is, in my opinion, a beneficial thing, so that you still have the reliability of a coat that keeps you warm, but don't have the detrimental effects of a coat that is too much in isolation, so can also help overheat and will also get a lot more dirty because there's more room for dirt to solidify in the coat, and also harder as a pet to keep clean. My personal opinion on the Rafeiro is that I like this type of dog. For me, they would be far too big, but if, for example, you have cattle, this could be a nice way to protect them. That being said, especially because of the rarity and show dog approval, many of the Rafeiros are not working stock anymore. So you will be hard pressed to find a good one. Whereas there are other breeds, such as Alabai, but especially Congo, you could look into and have a better livestock protection breed that still is of working lines, which I would prefer. So it's nice if you want a different type of Kango. This could be the route for you, but for me personally it would not be. Hope you like this video. Have a great day. So, the difference between a working line and a show line from the pet perspective. And I'm saying from the pet perspective because from the working perspective there's simply no challenge. You should always go with a working line. But from the pet perspective, of course, there can be some reasons why show lines could be better, especially if you're older or you cannot handle the character of a certain type of dog. This could be troublesome, and oftentimes the show lines are a lot more meek and also easier to work with or keep in a bigger group. But there could also be the opposite. So if you still want a very easy going dog, it could also be that a show line type of dog has less predictable character. So for example, the Bull and Terriers of working lines are often very human friendly, whereas those of show lines can have a more different character. So where a working Bull and Terrier will be there from a place of confidence, a show Bull and Terrier could be there from a different place, sometimes being very meek and easy going, but sometimes also that much different that they come from a place of fear. And fear is a lot less reliable than dominance, of course. Another thing is, if you still need some of the working capabilities, you might have to get 2 or 3 or 4 showbred dogs of a certain type instead of one working one, because there could be so much difference in character and also drive to do the work that you want them to do. So for example, if you need a guarding dog and you get one from performance lines, one guardian dog of performance lines could outshine 4 of show lines. So there are different things, of course, in a guardian dog. It's also that they propose a barrier function, and of course 4 can be a lot more barrier than 1. But if they are easily to be scared or not bothering at all at protecting the property, what good are they? Another point, and that's purely going to the side of working lines. Working line dogs are often a lot more healthy, because they have to be. If they're not able to work, they are not bred and if they are unhealthy, they are very oftentimes not able to work. Whereas a showline dog, it often only needs to look pretty. Also, there are quite a few working lines that get away with quite a lot of inbreeding, whereas in show dogs the inbreeding can be even higher or lower, depends on the program they use, but they have a lot more health issues. And the health testing is managing, it's balancing out the inbreeding depression that could arise. And the benefit of that inbreeding is that you get a dog that's a lot more predictable in outcome, character, but also build. And oftentimes also via other benefits. So, for example, almost all working dogs have a good heart, so a good cardiovascular system. Also, a lot of times they have good joints, hips, muscles, a good metabolism, good speed, a good motion. All things that are natural aspects of a working dog, but quite hard to find in a show dog. But those are extreme benefits, and in my opinion, very often time, even in a family setting, a working dog would be the better choice. There could be some examples of or exceptions in this case. As I mentioned, when you're older, you don't have the ability to put in the work, because you have to give a working dog outlets for its energy, and also physical and mental stimulation and work to do. And if you're not able to do that, also the pet showline type of dog will not be that happy, but they will cope with it a lot easier oftentimes as compared to working lines. And there could be another option if you want a specific outlook, so how a dog should look in appearance, and you might be left with a lot of breeds that are not being worked anymore, so you're then confined to showline type of dogs. So, long story short, I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. The dog on the dish here is my Petdogs Terrier, also known as the Black Felt Terrier. It's an Earth Terrier type of dog. He's from working lines, and I'm glad that the entirety of the Petdogs Terrier mainly consists of working line, but this could shift very easily in the future, like it also did with, for example, the Russells. Have a great day. In this video series I will explain the concept of gameness in nature. I will also give you, so that's the first thing. The second part will be why this gameness in nature is not in wild canines but is found in a very pure form in some gladiator type domesticated dogs. And third, I will give you an extreme example of that, and that's lion baiting, so dogs versus lion. Have a great day. In this video we will address the topic, is there also gameness in the animal kingdom, so in the wild animals? And the short answer is yes, but they are hard to find and not many are that. And why is this? Because in nature normally animals are there to survive, and if they don't survive because they have gameness and they want to go on even against opposition that is much stronger, so even if needed to the death, they won't be living long enough to reproduce their genes maximally. So that being said, let's look at some examples. We will talk at least about lions. We will talk about Martin's family, but we also talk about some of the civet cat family. So first start with lions. In the animal kingdom, the male lions are those that have that gameness attribute. And why? The female lions are the best hunters. So how come that those male lions are those that have the gameness trait? Whereas the lioness are the hunters, the male lions are the protectors. So especially if other male lions come and try to take over this group of lions, and oftentimes they also kill the lion whelps because they don't want to raise other male lions with genes but their own, and that's a big problem for that group. You will be wasting genetic diversity. And those male lions, once they get challenged by another male lion, they will fight, even if that would mean that they would die. And sometimes they even face off with two upcoming male lions that will battle that one lion together. And after that, either be two male lion group, or one will attack the other again, so only one will remain. Depends a little bit how the situation unfolds. But that's an interesting fact. Other very game animals must be the family of martens. Martens, even if you get pet martens like ferrets, they will happily engage with a cat 4 times its weight, which is also a very good predator, or a dog even 10 times its weight is very often the case, but sometimes even attacking herders like Dutch shepherds, Malinois. And of course it would be very easy for such a big dog, for any bigger dog, that's to kill a ferret if they are themselves still very capable. But oftentimes those household pets are already bred to have such a lack in courage that they will have a hard time with a ferret. But so a ferret is a domesticated polecat, and also polecats are known to fight cats, sometimes even venomous snakes, such as how do we say that? The viper is the best way to describe them. We have European viper, for example. And a similar case could be made for an entirely different family, being that of the civet cats, where they have the mongooses fighting with the big venomous snakes and also killing them. But sometimes also those snakes kill them. So it's a very interesting thing. But let's stay with the marten family. Other very game martens are, for example, the wolverine that even chases away wolves or bears, or even polar bears from their own prey. And it's such a compact gladiator. Other examples are river otters or other otters that even fight and kill small crocodiles, caimans, or also snakes. Even small anacondas have been killed by them. Other examples are the meager weasel, who can be like 50 to 100 grams and killing rabbits more than 20 times its weight. And yeah, a rabbit is still just a prey, but they will also engage very hard with each other. They will engage rats, and rats are quite capable of killing animals, including their own. For the size, they are quite big, and they will engage a bigger rat and kill it. They have a really good feisty little buggers. And you have a little bit bigger, the ermine, similar traits. Polecats already mentioned, but also there are some martens that are less likely to fight, including tree marten and stone marten, but also you have the fisher marten in the United States, like a smaller wolverine, also very interesting to see. Then we had the civet cats, I already mentioned the mongooses, but also the genet cats, which is a different trait. And fossas are known to be ferocious little fighters. Another example could be made for, that we didn't address yet, there's another very big cat that is really going, hey, against a very stiff competition, and it could be either the snow leopard, that you will even face off with 4 livestock protection breeds, for example Tibetan Mastiffs, and also the jaguar, which is able to kill anaconda but also crocodile types. But both the snow leopard and also the jaguar are very fierce and also solo fighting big cats, and also sometimes Siberian tigers or Bengal tigers face off with very strong prey, even bears. So also very strong, and also a bear can win from a tiger, of course, but this is not the type of gameness I was referring to. Another example of the marten family would be the badgers. Badgers are known for many a dog as the ultimate test. Some say that the otter is even a better test, but they are almost extinct everywhere in Europe. But very ferocious, will not back down. But there's an even more ferocious badger. I'm not talking about the American badger, which is a lot more aggressive than the European one, but a lot smaller as well. So therefore the European is often considered as a bigger prey, but also the American marten. The American badger is a very formidable quarry, but there are other examples, especially the honey badger of Africa, which faces off on a regular basis with a very big, strong competition, including lions, panthers, even hyenas and the like. And they also face off with cobras and other very deadly material. They just very able to withstand them, but also they have a don't care attitude. They will just face anything, a little bit like the wolverine. But the badger has a better skin and extremely sharp long claws, also able to dig. They also face off with bee stings, who just doesn't seem to bother them much. They crack open an entire beehive. They are an awesome creature altogether. Well, I hope you like this. I hope you like this video. I'm going to give you also a little bit more of insight that gameness can be a trait also found in nature. And why could be a big question. In case of lions it would be easier to explain. If that lion loses his pride, then he will be in big trouble, because he's already old, and it would be very unlikely that he would be overthrowing another male lion from its pride. So he has to hunt for himself and often die. Whereas the honey badger is just such a formidable warrior, and he tends to be surviving also the wolverine. Many of other big creatures will just move away when they see the wolverine, because they already know how much of a warrior they are. Same with honey badger, but it's quite hard to understand why they pick such a formidable quarry. Perhaps because others don't, and they just fill the niche. But it's interesting to conceptualize a little bit more. In an earlier video, we discussed gameness in nature, and we gave examples of creatures that can also be game in nature. So gameness is the ability and the willingness to go on even if odds are stacked against you. An example would be the honey badger that will face off with a leopard or a big baboon or a lion. And other examples are male lions that defend their pride against other male lions, even till the death. And multiple examples were mentioned, including also Wolverine and, for example, mongooses, or mongooses, so to speak, fighting with king cobras, etc. But that being said, we didn't include canine members in this overview. So canine members like, for example, the fox, or the wolf, or jackal, or coyotes, etc. And there's a reason for that, because canines are very brave and also able to take down big quarries, but they work very often in a group. And for example, solo hunting canines such as foxes oftentimes don't take down a big quarry. And then you might say, yeah, I know a fox that has killed a lamb, or killed a baby deer, or killed a baby hawk. Yeah, sure, and they do that. And that's still a big prey for a fox. But the same size, this Petdogs terrier would face off even with an adult hawk. Not win, mind you, but it's a different kind of bravery. So how come that in nature, where they have to fight to survive and also have a very harsh life, this gameness is not found in the canine family, whereas captivity, domestication, so you will, some members of the canine family are one of the gamest animals there are, and especially those that were bred for the gladiator roles, being in the earth. The terrier is working formidable quarry like a badger, sometimes above ground against the hawk that I mentioned, but especially those bred for the pit. There were dogs that would go on and continue against other dogs, even if they were ripped to pieces, and still be friendly to the handlers. But also dogs that would face off with lions, and everything they threw at them. And that's an interesting fact, because that gives you also insight at what I mentioned earlier, that I think the Bull and Terrier breeds are the most developed dog breeds there are, because they are so much developed outside the scope of the natural scope that a wolf, a natural canine, has. So if you're interested in this topic, I also have the literature studied about those extreme activities that they had. So especially against the bull, but also against the bear baiting, and against each other, of course, those gladiator type Bull and Terriers. The modern version of that would be the American Pit Bull Terrier, or the Bull and Terriers of the past. But they also fought lions. I have a video about that. You can find that if you want to. It's called Lionbaiting. It's on my channel. So please sit back and enjoy if you want to. And see you the next time. Bye bye. So in this video we are going to talk about lion baiting. This is an old blood sport where they use dogs to combat lions. And two lions are most proficiently described. And one was Nero and the other Wallace. And they are both big lions, whereas Wallace was a smaller one born in captivity and Nero was a bigger one. But not born in captivity. About this lion baiting, I showed you some pictures. Well, I will show you some pictures in a video. They normally had dogs against these lions had a chance, so to say, or a little bit of chance. But very oftentimes those lion baiting contests was a means to show the superiority of the rulers over the common people. So, as you might know, the lion is also known as the king of the jungle or king of all animals. And those kings also want to show how superior they were, and also that they were not even really attempting to fight. Such things were often placed upon the lion, also being majestic and very brave. And lions are very brave, especially male lions. They're one of the only animals that are known to be game as compared to a game dog. So, for example, male lions are known to fight to death even when they are faced with two other male lions that want to take over the pride. So one male lion is the alpha of the pride normally, and oftentimes upcoming lions they work together. Sometimes upcoming lions are alone, but very often they are with two. And two younger male lions will then challenge one alpha male lion that's getting older and fight to the death, because that older male lion wants to keep his pride, otherwise he will die, because his power is still there, because the lioness capture a lot of food for them, but they will wane off if left alone, and therefore they fight so viciously. The only other animals that are known that are dead game, so to say, or really game in the sense of a game dog, are marten species. So, for example, badgers, wolverines, the likes, but also weasels and ermines, and some other martens are known to be very feisty. Also, polecats are really feisty game little creatures, very oftentimes. But back to the lion baiting, so oftentimes they use big mastiffs, and because in dog worlds a mastiff is a big powerful dog, of course, but they were not so good as compared to the bull and terriers, which are the true gladiators, modern incarnations, and they were also used to fight bulls or bears, and those were let loose against a lion. In the case of Nero, he was a lion approximately 320 kilograms. He was facing three dogs, and those three dogs that were set loose on him all had to wane off, but their average weight was 18 kilograms, and one was a really thoroughbred game-bred bull and terrier, and he was 60 kilograms, and the other two already were mauled very hard, and only this Turk purebred game-bred bull and terrier kept going on, and he was 60 kilograms, as I mentioned, so 20 times smaller than that big Nero lion. And now you might say 320 kilograms is very big for a lion, cannot be done, but in the past lions were a lot bigger than they are now, because of being hunted by men. Or the smaller lions normally survive, whereas in the past they had really big lions. And that's proven by scientific evidence. It's also in the pictures that I will put up, so please take a peek. And on the other side there is so he fought with his 3 dogs, but the contest was 6 dogs against this lion, and 6 dogs of 18 kilograms. Six times 80 kilogram on average would be 180 kilogram, and that's like 1/3, almost 1/3 of the weight of the 320 kilogram lion. So the lion would be, if those 6 dogs were facing him at one time, still almost 3 times as heavy as those 6 dogs combined. But he wasn't facing them all 6 together, he was facing them in sets of 3 at a time. So it would be almost 6 times as heavy as the opponents at that certain time point. So you can imagine that the dogs had been very heavy, but the third dog that already came out of a match was still healing from its last match against a bigger dog that he was able to kill. Already had a swollen head and damage to its head before it faced the lion. And those 3 dogs stayed with the lion for 11 minutes. And the Turk dog died afterwards from its injuries. So 11 minutes they were able to withstand a dog. In dog terms, an opponent that was 3 times as heavy of the complete set of dogs and 6 times as heavy as they were in the bouts. And after that, they released the second 3 dogs, because 4, 5, and 6. And then this big lion, Nero, got hurt and didn't want to fight anymore. So those that were from the lion camp said he won, because he was just too majestic to fight his mere mortal dogs, still weighing 6 times as much as the bout he was facing, and 3 times as much as the complete set of dogs. But those at the dog camp said no, he didn't want to fight anymore, and the dogs would have killed him if the match wasn't stopped in favor of the lion. So this was quite inconclusive, to say the least, but still it was given to the lion, and then they said, okay, we will bring another lion, and now they brought Wallace. And Wallace was a smaller lion, but enormously ferocious. So in contrary to this Nero dog, he attacked the dogs very hard all the time, and he also killed the dogs. But he was now facing those 6 dogs. But Turk was not there anymore, and that was the dog that was able to stick with the gigantic lion for 11 minutes before it was picked up. But 60 kilograms, not a small feat, but he died, as I mentioned. But on the other hand, of the 6 dogs that were facing this Wallace dog, there were also dogs from the first bout that were already enormously maimed by this Nero lion, and now facing Wallace. They took him mere minutes a dog to defeat them. So in summary, our dogs able to defeat a lion. In the case of Nero they were, in the case of Wallace they weren't. Although I must say that the dogs that were facing Nero, some already had injuries. I don't think it would make that much of a difference. But 4, 5 and 6 of the first bout were able to close the deal. Whereas in the case of Wallace, who also was released to face 3 dogs at a time, or perhaps 2 dogs at a time. If you look at different references, they said that they, in case of Wallace, they decided that they have to, the lion has to face 2 dogs at a time, but then for 3 bouts. And that could make it a lot easier, of course, because then it would be not 6 times the weight difference per bout, but 9 times. And I think that just makes it a big difference. That being said, also the Wallace lion was smaller than the Nero lion, so it could make it a little bit more fair again. But still, if the lions were facing the same weight of dogs of the Bull and Terrier breeds, I'm almost 100% sure that it would be different, that the dogs would have won and just teared it apart. Of course, some might have died. I think they would, but it's not to be said that a gladiator type of dog cannot win over the same weight of the king of all animals and the king of the jungle, also known as the lion, which is a formidable warrior itself. But the same weight was not tested in this bout. There are stories known that 6 mastiffs were facing 1 lion, also a big lion. So for the same reference, it would be again a lion of 300 kilograms. 6 mastiffs would be the same size of dog in kilograms if they were weighing about 50 kilograms a piece. But on the other hand, a mastiff is a completely different animal than a Bull and Terrier. So the 6 mastiffs didn't want that much of a piece of that lion and just were not able to put the resistance that they wanted. Whereas those Bull and Terriers just went in. And now you might be thinking that your dog is much tougher than a cat. But if you look at pets, cat pets are often very much stronger than cat dogs, especially in the same weight range. If you, however, are comparing a working terrier dog, for example, a Petdogs terrier, a Fell terrier, a border terrier of working lines, or a game dog type of dog, I would bet on that animal over a cat, even in the same weight range. But dogs, pet dogs versus pet cats, I think 99% at the same weight, the cat will win. There are some differences between dogs and cats, and one is that cats are extremely explosive, very athletic, also better hunters. Even the pet cats are often a lot better a hunter, but the dogs have a bigger heart and can go the longer haul. But those pet dogs don't have the temperament and also are not selected to perform anymore, whereas cats still are quite able to fend for themselves, have to catch rodents, catch birds and kill and eat them, even without support of humans, whereas dogs have it a lot harder. What I also found, for example, street dogs, and street dogs are known also to kill cats. But take into consideration that the average street dog is a lot heavier than the average street cat. Okay, I hope you like this video. Have a great day. Bye bye.